The village market was bustling with activity, vendors calling out to passers-by, and the smell of fresh produce wafting through the air. I, Emily Wilson, had come to the market to buy some herbs for my mother's cooking. As I wandered through the stalls, I stumbled upon a small, mysterious shop tucked away in a corner. The sign above the door read, "Magical Potions and Charms." I felt a shiver run down my spine as I pushed open the door and stepped inside. The shop was dimly lit, and the air was thick with the scent of incense. A soft voice called out from the back of the shop, "Welcome, young one. What brings you to my humble abode?" The shopkeeper, an old woman with piercing green eyes, smiled as I approached her. I explained that I was just browsing, but my eyes kept drifting to a small, intricately carved box on the shelf. The shopkeeper noticed my interest and picked up the box. "Ah, you've spotted the love charm," she said with a knowing glint in her eye. "This little box contains a powerful potion that will make the object of your desire fall deeply in love with you." I laughed, thinking it was just a silly trinket, but something about the box seemed to call to me. I couldn't resist the shopkeeper's words, and before I knew it, I had purchased the love charm. She warned me that the potion was powerful and to be careful what I wished for. I laughed it off, thinking it was just an old wives' tale. As I left the shop, I felt a strange tingling sensation in my fingers, as if the charm was already working. I pushed the feeling aside and focused on the upcoming school year. I had just started my final year of high school, and I was determined to make it a great one. Little did I know, my life was about to take a dramatic turn. I had always admired the head boy, Jack Harris, from afar. He was charming, smart, and athletic, the perfect package. I had never mustered the courage to talk to him, but with the love charm in my possession, I felt a newfound confidence. I followed the shopkeeper's instructions, whispered my desire to the charm, and waited. At first, nothing seemed to happen, but as I walked home, I caught a glimpse of Jack watching me from across the street. Our eyes met, and he smiled. Over the next few days, Jack became a constant presence in my life. He would show up at my locker, in the cafeteria, and even outside my house. At first, I was thrilled, but soon, his behavior became unsettling. He would stare at me with an intensity that made me feel like he was reading my thoughts. His friends started to notice his behavior and would often tease him about being under some sort of spell. I began to feel a pang of guilt, wondering if the love charm was indeed working. One night, I had a strange dream. The shopkeeper appeared, her eyes blazing with a fierce warning. "Be careful what you wish for, Emily," she said. "The love charm comes with a price. You must be prepared to pay it." I woke up with a start, feeling a sense of unease. Was it just a dream, or was the shopkeeper trying to warn me of something? I pushed the thought aside, but the feeling of unease lingered. As the days went by, Jack's behavior became more and more erratic. He would do anything to be near me, and his grades began to suffer. His friends started to distance themselves, and his parents grew concerned. I felt like I was losing control, and the love charm seemed to be taking on a life of its own. I began to wonder if I had made a terrible mistake. One day, Jack's parents showed up at my doorstep, demanding to know what I had done to their son. I was taken aback, unsure of how to respond. They threatened to expose the love charm to the entire school, and I knew I had to act fast. I tried to reason with Jack, but he was too far gone. I realized that I had to find a way to break the spell before it was too late. I scoured the village market, searching for the shopkeeper, but she was nowhere to be found. I asked around, but no one seemed to know anything about her or the love charm. I felt like I was running. I was desperate to find a way to break the spell. Jack's behavior was becoming more and more erratic, and I couldn't take it anymore. I started to research online, looking for any clues that might help me. I stumbled upon an old forum where people discussed magic and spells. One post caught my eye, a woman claiming to be a witch offered to help people with spell-related problems. I hesitated for a moment before sending her a message. The witch, who introduced herself as Arya, agreed to meet with me. She lived on the outskirts of town, in a small cottage surrounded by strange artifacts and books. She listened to my story, nodding sympathetically. "I can help you," she said, "but it won't be easy. Are you prepared to face the consequences?" I nodded, eager to free Jack from the spell. Arya taught me a ritual to break the spell. I had to gather rare herbs, recite ancient incantations, and perform a series of intricate gestures. I was skeptical, but desperate. I followed her instructions to the letter, hoping that it would work. As I finished the ritual, I felt a strange energy coursing through my veins. The ritual seemed to work. Jack's behavior returned to normal, and he started to distance himself from me. I was relieved, but also felt a pang of sadness. I had grown accustomed to the attention, and now it was gone. Arya warned me that the spell's effects could be unpredictable, and that Jack might not remember everything that happened while he was under the spell. Jack confronted me about his behavior, demanding to know what had happened. I was torn between telling him the truth and keeping the secret. I decided to confess, hoping that he would understand. To my surprise, he listened calmly, his expression unreadable. Jack forgave me, but I could sense a hint of wariness in his voice. He told me that he needed time to process everything, and that he would talk to me later. I respected his boundaries, knowing that I had put him through a lot. I reflected on the experience, realizing that I had been foolish to meddle with forces I didn't understand. I vowed to be more careful in the future, to think before acting. The love charm had taught me a valuable lesson: be careful what you wish for. Days turned into weeks, and Jack gradually started to reconnect with me. We talked about what had happened, and he shared his feelings about being under the spell. It was a difficult conversation, but it brought us closer together. Jack and I started fresh, getting to know each other without the influence of the love charm. We discovered common interests, shared laughter, and built a genuine connection. I realized that true relationships are based on mutual respect, trust, and understanding. I learned a valuable lesson about the dangers of manipulation and control. The love charm had shown me the darker side of desire, and I was grateful to have escaped its grasp. I made a promise to myself to never use magic to influence someone's feelings again. I decided to move on from the past, focusing on building a healthy relationship with Jack. We took things slow, enjoying each other's company without the pressure of the spell. I was happy to see Jack being himself, free from the charm's influence. In the end, Jack and I developed a strong bond, one that wasn't forced or manipulated. We became a couple, and our relationship blossomed. I was grateful for the experience, as it taught me the importance of genuine connections and the dangers of meddling with forces beyond my control. I looked back on the love charm as a cautionary tale, a reminder to always be careful what I wished for.